Hey everyone, this is Ian Mai with the Wired for More ADHD and Self Mastery podcast. I have my good friend Bri on the line. Bri and I, like all of my friends, seems like I only make friends on LinkedIn because I live there, she lives there.
Same.
But the beautiful thing about Bri's story that I'm really excited to help her share is just this excitement and willingness to do hard things, try hard things, figure things out, even though there's that part of you that says, I don't have any authority in this space. I don't know what I'm doing. And just the willingness that you go into the world being willing to take messy action. Every one of my clients hears messy action and they go, yeah, okay, all right, we're doing it. Messy
It's
action.
authority. Authority is overrated. Knowing what you're doing is overrated.
Oh my goodness, that by itself is a tagline. I think that you could put that as anyone's headline. Authority is overrated.
Is that my next tattoo or
I think
on a
it
t-shirt, on a hat?
straight on the forehead, or like the weird ones where you get it under your lip where it's only going to last like 5 years.
No, that's where the Apollo logo is going. Don't
Oh,
get it
there we go.
twisted.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So, I mean, to that point, you currently work for Apollo, but you've done a lot of jobs. You've
Mm-hmm.
worn a lot of hats. You're
So
wearing a
many.
hat right now.
I see what you did there. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
But
Yes.
I think one of the things that we talked about even offline and in our personal conversations of, hey, you can just try to get your hands dirty and share from that place. And we'd love to for you, like, what resonates with you with that? Like, what are you sharing right now that's just
You can
absolutely
just do
coming from within?
things. I think that there's a lot of talk online about the existence of free will, and people joke about it, but it's actually a real thing. Free will does exist, and I think I've taken advantage of that throughout my entire career. Is just, hey, you can just pivot. If one day you wake up and what you're doing no longer sparks joy and there's a sense of dread and foreboding opening your laptop every day, like you don't have to do that anymore. And I think that that's been a consistent theme throughout my life and career, is that I have never had that fear of the I have had the fear of the unknown, but I've walked with that fear into a lot of different career paths. Some have served me positively, some have served to educate me on what I don't want to do. But I think that like the transcending theme throughout my career is just this willingness to let fear walk alongside me and just exhibit free will to pursue different things that are interesting to me and leave behind things that are not.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about free will, which great. We all want agency, but I think on the outside looking in, you can tell me if this is wrong or not. You do a pretty good job of asserting your will. Like it's not even just like, hey, I do things that are fun for me. You're like, no, I'm gonna do this. Watch me
Like if
make
I
this
do
happen.
something, if I'm going to do something, I do it with my full ass. There's
Yeah,
no half assing in this building. No.
none, absolutely not. And I think between the two of us, we work pretty hard to make sure that it's not just that we're going to give our full ass to it. It's that everybody in the room knows that it's there.
Yes, I just get up on my megaphone. I stand on my soapbox and I yell very loud about what I'm doing, because I feel like it's like if you're gonna do something, like you should just really do it, because if you don't, then you'll always sit back and wonder, well, what if I had just given a little bit more? What if I had just committed a little harder to this thing that I know that I want to do, or that I'd be really good at, or that I want people to know about? But I think that there's this fear that always does hold a lot of people back from giving it their all, because they then it's a protection mechanism, right? It's like fear protects us from the things from the unknown, and it can be a really useful tool, but I think it also holds people back in a lot of ways. And so what I've just really learned is that, like, I've learned to listen to the voices in my head, but I've learned to tune out the voices that I feel like are not going to allow me to do what I want to do to like the fullest extent possible, whether that's like a side quest or whether that's in my career. I find something that works and I just really lean in, because what is much scarier to me is the opportunity cost of not going all in on that thing.
Something that you said just immediately like lit a fire for me is just this idea that, hey, I notice every thought that my brain has, and your and my ADHD brains have a lot of them.
Too
And
many.
some of them are trying to keep you safe, some of them are genuinely serving you. And the beauty of it is that you're not trying to control any of those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something a lot of people don't understand is that they need to control all of their thoughts, control the negative ones too, because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them. There's a ton of them, and we can't control them. You talk about free will. I don't have free will over my thoughts, unfortunately.
No.
Like that's like the one thing I don't have any agency over. But I do have agency of how I respond to those thoughts. And I love that you just embody that. Like it's empowering and encouraging to see.
Yeah. And I mean, I just think about all of the times in my career where I have had a voice that's popped into my head that says, this is a horrible idea. But it's just about being able to interpret that in a way as like, okay, well, is this actually a really bad idea? Or is this just me being really scared of what is around the corner that I can't see yet? Perfect example of this is about almost a year ago, actually, I pivoted in my career from sales to marketing. So I had been in sales for a long time. And I think that sometimes because people think that they've been in something for a long time, that means that they need to just hang on to that thing and protect it, right? It's like, well, I've been doing this for so long, so therefore I should keep doing it, right? But I reached a point in my career where I was absolutely miserable doing what I was doing. It was my third sales job. My first opportunity I really loved, that was back in 2017. That was before I had children. I really loved that. And I think I was just kind of trying to recreate that, right? I was trying to recreate that experience for myself. I loved it. I was so happy. I loved what I was selling. I loved the people that I worked with. And then I had a couple of different other pivots, which we can talk about at some other point. But when I got back into tech sales in 2024 after a really traumatic experience in entrepreneurship, like for lack of a better word, pretty traumatic. And I got back into it because I had to, because it was what was, felt comfortable and safe, and like a natural transition back into a 9 to 5 was getting back into tech sales. So I got back into it in 2024, but it wasn't for the right reasons. And then I had 2 back-to-back really short stints at 2 different companies. And the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I'm just trying to repaint the Mona Lisa here. That's not going to happen. I'm at a completely different phase of my life. I can't go back and I can't turn back time. So what am I trying? Why am I chasing this ghost of Brianna past? And so I decided to really start lamenting on, well, what is it that I actually really enjoy? What do I really enjoy doing? What am I actually passionate about? What are the things that I want to take with me into my next opportunity? And I started doing a lot of mind oh my gosh, I can't even talk. A lot of journaling, going on long walks in the mornings, just trying to get this extreme clarity on what I wanted my next opportunity to look and feel like. And I'm not going to say that it's magic, but manifestation honestly does work. And it was during that time in March, April of last year that I was presented with the opportunity that I have now. So I think that it was really scary to take that opportunity because it was leaving behind this persona that I had created for myself, even on LinkedIn. I was like the sales girl. I was getting brand partnerships. I was talking about sales all the time. It was kind of become a part of my identity. But it was like I had to experience that identity death and the fear that came with that in order to make this transitional leap in my career into doing what I'm doing now, which is the best time I've ever had in my career. And it's something that is I'm still scared of, but it brings me so much more joy than I've ever experienced in my career before.
Yeah, I think when people hear manifestation, you fall into one or pretty much only have 2 categories, right? You either love it or it's not for you, right? And I think what's funny is that the word manifestation, I adhere to some faith principles in this nature of prayer and guidance and infinite love and abundance. And there's part of me that leans into it, but then also the other part of me that's electrical engineer, neuroscience.
I'm a very logical, very grounded person. I think it was really difficult for me to lean into this other part that was pulling me towards more of the metaphysical. Here's what I can't see, but I know that there's power in energy and alignment. And I think it's not so much about believing that if I just do manifestation, this opportunity will magically drop into my lap. I think it's literally just about getting that clarity. The clarity is what I was really seeking. I had been through the worst possible year of my life in 2024, and I was so miserable, so broken, so frustrated. I just really want to figure out what's going to make me happy. And so that's what those thought exercises were. Is it wasn't about just trying to call in some sort of magical force to drop an opportunity into my lap. It was well, no, I want to be clear on what I want this next phase of my career to look like.
Yeah. I mean, some things that you did, again, from a logical, tactical standpoint, is allowing your ADHD brain to get bored. And from that bored place, sitting with all the fear, anxiety, worry, overwhelm, things that were already ruling your life. So it was just I can't tell you to go away because you're just here now. So, but the fact that you just sat with it and it's hey, welcome it, all of it. In fact, what's the story that this fear and anxiety, worry, and overwhelm is teaching me right now? What's it trying to tell me? What? okay, go back to a sales job because that what you know, and
It's
you're just like,
familiar
yeah,
hell
but
versus unfamiliar
that got me
heaven.
here. So yeah, and that's the funny thing of like, hey, why are people so afraid of change? It's like because it's a new pattern that we haven't recognized yet. And I think to your point, the manifesting, ideating, whatever you want to call it, right? Like you work backwards from that of, can I even see myself in a new world where I could be happy, allow myself to just love and be encouraged by the people around me? Yeah, okay, I think that exists. And now I'm just going to start taking steps as if it is possible. Great. Manifestation turned into action, so be it, right? Like however you need to get there. I go through a whole process. Every time I'm doing something boring and mundane that my brain is literally loathing, I hate slideshows as an example. Seriously, give me a frying pan that is red hot. I will put it to my face before working on a PowerPoint slideshow. But when I'm stuck building the slideshow, I sit and I receive gratitude from the future version of me who just got done giving the presentation, and he's thanking me for the work that I'm doing right now. And I just sit and I receive that. I'm like, there's a future version of me who's so grateful for me just putting this extra slide down. And then the beauty of that is now that person who got to experience the beauty of all that work and that preparation, he bears the responsibility to thank his past self. And so I do this very regularly. Like, hey, thank you for showing up. Hey, thank you for these opportunities I get. Right. And regardless of what you adhere to, the practice, all of that, what that looks like is intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to pull some dopamine into my brain from an internal source. Like other people don't know that they're doing that. They do it on accident. And you and I have to create real practical strategies to do it on purpose.
That's very true. Yeah. And I mean, I do, you grow through what you go through. And I have a lot of gratitude for these past versions of myself that have tried all of these different things, right? I think that if you allow yourself to stay stuck in things that don't make you happy, like once you make that leap, like you will look back in gratitude because you'd be like, okay, I now have this such a strong interpretation of what doesn't serve me, what doesn't make me happy. And so I have, I've been through these like a lot of like career trauma, for lack of a better word, but I'm now just looking back on all that. I'm like, I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful that I got back into sales. I'm so grateful that I decided to take that time and experience, that like boredom and really sitting in that discomfort, because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now, just like having the most fun that I've had in my career, and having it being in a role that like allows me to do so many different things. Like the role that I have now is like perfect for somebody that's ADHD, because I'm like, 1 minute I'm on Reddit, the next minute I'm on LinkedIn, then I'm like doing ghostwriting, then I'm filming a humor reel. Like it's so funny. It's so funny how if you allow yourself to receive these things, and you are okay with sitting in, like I said, in that discomfort, that like things will happen for you if you are able to move in that direction.
Yeah, that's so good. And
honestly, good, that's how I want it to be. I pivoted my content a lot on LinkedIn in the last, I'd say, like 6 weeks or so, to being almost 100% humor led. Before, I think I was just trying to be, it was almost like performative, just doing the things that I felt like other people were doing, and making the infographics and like doing all that stuff. And then like I think something just kind of broke in my brain like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I'm like, humor is a moat. Okay, like if you can be funny, that is what is getting attention right now. I love attention. So I'm like, what is going to get me like what is going to like really like help me pop off in this way, and what are things like, how can I also give back to this community that's done so much for me? I'm like, being funny. That's it. That's the thing. And so I'm having so much fun because it benefits me professionally, right? Like, I'm a content creator. I do this full time for my job. So being able to put this stuff out on LinkedIn, and the stuff that we're also sharing on different channels, good. But it's also like I'm having so much fun doing it too. So that's the other thing too, is like, what brings you joy? Like, what do you love to do? And for me, like, I love to make people laugh. I've always loved to do that. Never thought I'd get paid for it, but we're here now.
I think even that, some people don't really know what lights them up intrinsically. Like, they don't know. And I think for some people who are late stage diagnosed ADHD, they kind of all go through this process of
finding,
I don't want to say unlearning, but relearning. Who am I? Is this my ADHD? Is this me? Is this my personality? Is this just my nervous system? And then at some point you kind of just go like, none of that's really useful. I'm just going to do something that lights me up a bit. And I think when you're in a really bad season of burnout, it can be hard to know what is coming from this place of joy and excitement and what's coming from this place of fear, overwhelm, anxiety of not being good enough, being appearing not good enough, like whatever it is that triggers you, versus really just being able to say, hey, I'm just going to commit to this thing
Yeah.
because I know at the very
You
least
will
I
always
enjoy
be,
making
I am like a
it.
huge believer that
Let's
if
just
you
figure out
love
how to
what you do, you will always be successful and you will always find a way to make money doing that thing. Always. Always. If you're really good at it and you really lean into it and you're super passionate
always.
about it, people will pay you to do that thing.
Yeah. They'll pay you just to be in the same
Yes.
circles of you because they're like, I don't know where your energy comes from, but I want some of it.
Correct.
Help me understand how I could just like mirror
Correct.
even a little bit of what it is that you have. And it kind of seems silly because then you're like, well, wait, how do I sell that? Because I'm not sure what
Yeah.
outcomes I'm helping them deliver.
I
ROI
did smell
by
my
smelling my
armpits in a
armpits.
reel
Like, no,
the other
that doesn't
day
work. That's not.
on LinkedIn that I posted publicly. Like, who am I? That's so weird. But is
That is rowdy. I did an email sequence using Apollo to 100 HR leaders
Life.
of my Fat Thor photo because I was like, I started this whole sequence thinking, you know, I'm going to write like
So
what the ROI
boring.
is
Hate
on
that.
this keynote that I'm going to give and what the
Absolutely not.
messaging is. And I said, I'm not doing
Fat Thor for the
any
win.
of that.
Yes. Yes, but we're
Fat
in the
Thor for
attention
all of
economy,
you.
man. Like that is the thing. It's the thing right now is how do I stand out? How do I help people like really see me and what I'm all about? But it's you're right. It takes such a long time, and when you're in that like pit of despair, it can be so hard. Like I literally had an entire year. I had an entire year where I was just miserable, and it can be so hard and so debilitating when you're in that season, and it's just like you can't even fathom a way out. But like it does. There is a way. There is a way out, but it all starts with like you accepting that as your reality, and then just taking those steps to get yourself out of that position.
Well, I think both your and my story comes from that place of pit of despair, from being at the lowest point. And from that place, you're like, well, I've got nothing to lose now because
Yes. It's a great place to be, honestly,
like.
sometimes, because when you literally have nothing to lose and you're like, I've tried everything, it's kind of empowering almost. Something like I've done all these things in my career and like I'm so unhappy. Like the worst thing that can happen is that like the next thing doesn't work out. And I think that that's something I think about a lot too. Like I was in sales for a long time, obviously, so I've gotten very comfortable with like rejection. And I think that just learning to like not take things personally is really empowering as well. Learning that really the world is not out to get you. No one is looking at you. Really, ultimately, nobody cares really what you're doing. Like really, no one is judging you. Nobody cares. So I think once you also figure that out too, that like you can just try things and do things and put yourself out there, that like eventually the worst thing that's going to happen is that nobody notices, and the best thing that's going to happen is that you actually find your people and you find your lane through doing that.
Yeah. I think I actually disagree a bit on what you just said. Nobody's judging you. I have literally the opposite belief. Everybody's
Their
judging you.
memory. Yes.
But
yes.
for how long and for how long and how long do they sit on it? Almost no time at all. Almost no time at all. And the ones who are spending way too much time judging you, it says more about them than it does you. And it makes for fun content. Poking at them and joking with them when they're taking it so seriously and you're not. And I've made some pretty interesting posts recently, and I had some people get in the comments and like get really serious.
It's not that deep.
They don't know that I'm not being serious. It's really not. It's not that deep at all. But you said it's a moat, Bri, so it has to be deep. No, this is a very shallow moat because we got bored digging it.
Yeah, I think that also just being
very
passionate
we barely left
about
the
what
hose
you're
on
doing
for a
and
little
really
bit.
leaning into that thing and like creating from a place of genuine passion as opposed to using all of these stupid tools that we now have at our disposal. Like that is also a big mode as well. So that would definitely be another piece of advice I would have for people is like stop trying to like be everything to everybody and just be this one thing to like a smaller group of people, and that will do way more for you in your life and in your career than just trying to people please and like put out what you think people want to hear. It should just like creating and like living and moving from a place of like I'm here to serve this one specific audience and therefore serve myself is just like so much more powerful than trying to throw spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks. I think you're really good at that too. You're really good at like knowing your thing.
And I think I've honed in on it, and I appreciate you saying that. I mean, but that is something that I've obsessed about, and I think that's your point. Go find something to obsess about. Like go find something to obsess about. And the difficulty with the ADHD experience really is go obsess about something even when it gets hard, right? Like what is it going to look like, and what mantras are you going to use, and what practices and strategies are you going to use to know when you're in the, okay, this is no longer novel, but I'm going to continue obsessing about this, knowing that I'm on the bridge of something big. And that's the part where it's like, love the novelty. Dopamine's lit up every time I have novelty with the new bright shiny thing that I'm going to obsess about. But the moment it starts getting hard, okay, what tools and tactics and strategies have I put in place to pull me through that? Because on the other side of it is becoming a relative expert.
And I still have like, I still struggle with that too. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm a whiz at humor and LinkedIn, and this is, you know, I'm a millionaire from, I'm not. So I still struggle with that too. Like, I still struggle with the days, like, you know, I go through periods, as I'm sure you do, where you have all this, you know, I think anyone with ADHD has this, where you go through this like the manic motivation phase, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to make 50 reels in one day. I'm killing it. I'm so funny. Everything I do is hitting. I'm so motivated. And like lately for myself, I've been in a season where I'm like, I can't think of anything. Oh my God, I suck at this. Like, and then the thoughts start to spiral. Well, maybe this isn't for me. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing here? I'm not an expert. There's people that are way funnier than me. There's people that are like doing cool. Oh, they did that thing. Oh, like, why didn't I do that? And then you just like, you slowly just start to spiral. Oh, well, maybe I should go do something else. But it's like, I think that just realizing that you're in that and you're going to come out on the other side of it is what personally works for me, and being like, hey, this is just a lull. It happens to everybody. But the difference, you're right, is like recognizing that and being able to play through, as opposed to being like, well, you know, front nine sucked, not even going to bother playing the back nine, you know?
No, the back nine is where all of the excitement happens, where you just get to just do it. And you even use the language of play through, right? Because like, yeah, obviously you and I
I'm like, I should not be using, I should check myself before I use sports metaphors though. Like, I know nothing about sports. I really shouldn't have said that. Also, it's true.
But you're in sales,
yes,
so
I still
if you're going to
consider
play your
myself
audience,
to be a seller. Once a seller, always a seller. Exactly. Correct. Yes.
Always be selling, even if you're in marketing. But that point though, I think that is the tools of like, what clues do you have that you're noticing you're in that valley of despair? And for most people, they don't have that introspection because they get stuck in trusting every thought that they have when they're anxious, overwhelmed, and tired, and just exhausted. Like, they're trusting every thought that they have, and you can't. And you hear from people like Layla Hormozi, who's phenomenal. You know, Alex Hormozi, Layla Hormozi, the power couple of all power couples. She says, you know, F your feelings, right? Stick to the plan. Like, and she says that. And the difficulty is that, one, it's kind of discouraging, and you're like, well, that's insensitive, and we want to kind of throw stones at that. But in all seriousness, we do not have objective reasoning when our amygdala is hyperactive. We just don't. And so the biggest skill is being able to notice of like, oh, I'm having the all or nothing thinking right now. Oh, it's all black and white. Okay, I got to notice that. Oh, I've got tunnel vision right now on my boss is a jerk
obsessing and
thought.
cycling through the same thought over and over and over
My
again.
agency is gone
a million times in your head. It's like, this stuff does definitely keep me up at night. But yes, I think it's just having gone through this so many times and realizing like, hey, maybe I have a lot of regrets about walking away from opportunities and situations that I know if I had just stuck with it a little bit longer, I would have probably seen a huge benefit from doing that. So it's just like, having done that so many times, I'm now like, okay, I get it. I get it, life. Thank you. Yes. Yep. I understand now. Understand what I need to do. And that's like, just don't quit while you're ahead, even if you feel behind.
Right. Well, and the worst part is that we can quantify those mistakes. Like, I can literally count the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I quote lost or didn't make based on an inability to receive criticism.
Yep. I was in
and just walking away from it.
Side quest in my career. So I think I've shared this with you before, and I've talked about it a little bit publicly. But I was in the network marketing industry for a couple of years, and that was the period when I quit my full-time job back in 2023 to go all in on that thing. And I did it for 9 months. And I had this mentality of like, I'm going to burn the boats. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket. And actually for a couple of months worked out great, making tons of money, earning all the trips, crushing it. building a team. But then once I went too hard. I went too hard. I burned myself out. I burned out my team. And instead of just sitting in that discomfort and being like, okay, I probably approached this the wrong way. I now need to learn from this, but I need to keep going. I need to keep pushing through because, like, again, you grow through what you go through. Like, no pressure, no diamond. You kind of sometimes you just have to stick it out. I was like, nope, nope, nope. I can't. Oh, I can't do this. I can't stick with this. Like, my team hates me. I am now like I'm going into debt. I can't do this anymore. And I was just, again, that was like really bad timing in my life. I was miserable. And so I quit. And that's how I went when I got back into tech sales is because I was in all this debt. I had gone through this very traumatic experience, risking it all in this business and having it not work out. And I think back on that a lot. I don't know if I necessarily regret it, but I'm like, whoa, if I had just known what I know now about myself, and being able to recognize those patterns and again sit in that low season, low period, and just play through, my life could look very different.
I think there's always the woulda, coulda, shoulda is kind of a thing, but also being able to recognize, because you have so much gratitude for the work you get to do now, the way you get to live now, the things you're putting out into the world. There's that part of you that's like, hey, thanks, brain, for reminding me of all the things that could have been. At the same time,
and I am so grateful. Like, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have the job that I have now, because like I built up this huge community. And part of my job, part of the reasons I got hired in my current job is like, hey, have you built a community? Like, and I had built up this big audience on Instagram. I had built up this big team. Like, they saw that experience and the experience that I had from like starting this big, Facebook community for moms, like back in the day, and like pieced all of that together into this like weird hodgepodge puzzle. And they're like, she's got that part. She's got the sales part. She's got the like personality hire part. Like, she'd probably be good at this job, even though I was like very unconventional hire. So, I do have so much gratitude for that. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I went through that period in my life and went through that hardship, because now I know myself so much better. And I've developed a ton of skills that are, still with me on the content creation side of things. If I hadn't started that business on Instagram, I wouldn't have gotten really good at that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to be successful doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I think to that point of even what you are doing and the role that you landed was one where there actually are no
sort of. I mean, I don't know, sort of ish, kind of.
They're not selling programs. They don't have the 10-step method process. I mean, just for the audience who don't know you, you essentially got hired onto Apollo and were forced into becoming the expert in consultative sales inside of, or consultative marketing inside of Reddit, which is like the scourge of the internet. Like, people think that LinkedIn commenters are bad. They think Instagram commenters are worse. They think YouTube are the worst commenters in the world. No, Reddit 100% is where
Reddit
people
and X.
Will tell you
yes,
exactly
Reddit and
what
X.
they think about you.
Correct.
Straight to your
Correct.
face.
Yeah. And you're right. There was no. That's like less of. That's what it was initially hard to do. You're correct. So yeah, I built up our subreddit from nothing, and I was essentially responsible for just going in and like the run and find out mentality. So grateful that they took a chance on me and allow me to go down that road and experiment, because you're right, like there's really no playbook for that, and there's very few brands that are doing it extremely well. So it was a lot of guessing and testing, especially in the beginning, and like a lot of getting banned from a lot of big subreddits, like oopsies. But yeah, it was really fun. And, and doing that and being successful at that and feeling the fear and doing it anyways is like what allowed me to gain more confidence, not only in like that aspect of my role, but then, hey, you did it. You figured it out. Good for you. Now, hey, now I have the courage to go and try something else. I have the courage to go and like maybe make some reels for our Instagram. Oh, those are doing well too. Okay, great. Like what else can I do? Right. So it's like, once you feel the fear and do it anyways, and that one thing, it can be so empowering for you to then go and push the boundaries in other parts of your career and your life.
Well, I think for you even just kind of said it, but you glossed over it, and I feel like it's because you don't want to relive the experience. But you got banned
within like 2 weeks of
some really important subreddits in an industry where yeah, exactly, which is the best of like, hey, 2 weeks in, the worst thing to possibly happen happened.
Still here.
And yet you
still
survived.
Here, still kicking. Yeah, we found some ways around it. But yeah, and it was really hard. And I remember like that happened, and I saw that, and I didn't really know, because I was so new to the role. I didn't really even know what that event. And in the grand scheme of things, it's actually really not a big deal. It's really not. But I remember that happening and I was just like sobbing. Like, I'm going to get fired. My career is over. I can't believe this happened to me. This is horrible. And I was like so scared to tell my boss, I'm like, she's going to boot me out. But she's like, oh, well, that sucks. Like, okay, now what? And I'm like, well, we could try this. And she's like, okay, go do it. So I think we also just catastrophize a lot of what we think is going to happen. And that's where we create these stories in our head and these narratives. Oh, it's like, well, if I try this, then this is going to happen. Oh, and then this could happen. And then this could happen. And then we see those things as being like the most likely thing that is going to happen, when in reality, most of the time it works out. Most of the time, statistically, it just works out. At least it does for me. But I think I've just learned to, again, recognize that most of the time it does work out. And that's what I try to listen to, as opposed to this little voice that's like, well, maybe it's going to suck and maybe you'll fail. And that doesn't, again, serve anyone positively to listen to that person.
Yeah. Well, and I think to that point, I don't necessarily like to focus on the outcome part, because we can obsess about the outcome.
Correct.
Which we never had control of. We have free will, we have agency, we don't have control over the outcomes. And I think what's beautiful about that is when you can release the fact that the outcome isn't my responsibility, it's my response to the outcome that's my responsibility. And your manager, like, mind you, I want to meet this person because she crushed it in that moment, to be able to say,
exactly.
And then what? And now what?
No,
great.
No,
Because the outcome, you probably had no control over that.
The only things that you can
there
control
very well
is
might have
your
been
effort and
one
your
person.
attitude. That's it. And it's the same thing in sales, right? And so I've learned, in that moment, I had to remember in my sales brain, detach from the outcome, detach from the outcome, detach from the outcome. And that's the same thing that serves any good salesperson well, is just knowing that, like, you just have to, it's the inputs that are important, right? Journey, destination's great, but like, what are you doing in this moment to like make sure that you're stacking the odds in your favor to achieve the best possible outcome?
The output is in our control. And I think the attitude for me doesn't always have to mean that you have to have this cheery disposition, that you're whistling and skipping everywhere you go. But there is some amount of like, hey, this is hard. And it's okay that it's hard. Because I know my brain shuts off as soon as I feel shame over like, this is hard and it's me that's the problem. Like my brain immediately shuts off. Like if you want my brain to, on a scan, literally
that
look
was me on my run this morning. I was like, this is so hard. I hate it so much. I want to stop running. I'm training for a half marathon, and I'm like I was running a 5K this morning, and it felt awful. It was like super hot. I don't know what this, like 25, it was like 25 degrees Celsius, which I think is like in the 90s or like high 80s. It was hot. And I was running a 5K, and I'm like, I'm running 5K and this is hard. Like for me, I'm like, I can't, I'm never going to be able to run 21 kilometers. But like, I have to remember, like, the odds are stacked against me right now. It's early in the morning. I don't like running early in the morning. It's really hot. So I'm going to, but all that I can control here is like my effort and my attitude. Okay, you know what? Like, so what if it's hard? I'm going to still keep running. Like, as long as I don't stop, then I'm not failing. Because that's the only time that I consider failure at all is if you just stop doing that thing and you quit. And so I'd like finish the run, and I finished it in like sub 30 minutes. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know what? It was not ideal circumstances, but you like got out there and you finished and you did it anyways. And like, that is the definition of success, is like just finishing the race.
Yeah. Well, one actually thing that helped me when I was doing my marathon training, I also got the ADHD.
Why are we like this?
To do a marathon. I didn't sign up for a marathon. I literally, my life's pursuit is answering that question for everyone else, but not for myself. But one thing that actually helped me was I looked up what is the heaviest person to ever have finished a marathon and how fast did they do it.
Wow.
Just what's the world record for the heaviest person to ever complete a marathon? And that was the most encouraging thing for me. Not who's the fastest in the world. It was literally the opposite. I had to go the opposite direction of like, how slow could I do this? Oh, it was like 400 pounds. And insane. And it took them, I don't remember, it was like 8.5 hours, 9.5, which is moving for 400 some pounds. Good Lord, that is hauling. But it actually helped encourage me that when it comes to half marathon and marathon, at some point you kind of have to say,
not going to be breaking world records
at which
here.
I do this,
you know, it's like you're training to be the most like mid runner ever.
No,
I'm just doing it.
Not
but
even
like,
mid,
if you do that, you are my best friend tells me this all the time. She's like, we are like in the top like 0.00001% of people, because most people don't even try. I feel like that's like the ethos of this conversation is like, just try. just try things. Just try things knowing that it might not work out, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the problem, is that we start running a marathon or half
All
marathon,
part of a
whatever
marathon.
fraction of a marathon we're running,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we compare ourselves against the other people who've run 100 marathons rather than
Yes.
comparing yourself
Yes. And
against
you
the people
want
who are
to,
still on the
if you're going
couch
to
and
look at
have never
anybody,
even thought about
look at the people on the couch. Like, I try to never compare myself to people who are judging me. Is like, don't let somebody that, like, don't take opinions from somebody you would never trade places with. And most of the time, the people that are judging you are the people you would not, I would like not want their life. You know, it's like the old crusty man that's like sitting behind his keyboard that's like telling me that my voice is annoying on an Instagram reel. I'm like, I would not, no thanks. Don't want to trade places with you. Pretty happy with where I'm at now. But yeah,
all he has
yeah,
better to
because
do
he
is sit
probably,
and probably
maybe my voice
listen
is
to your
annoying, but he
voice on
probably thinks I'm
repeat over
cute.
and
So
over
there
and
you
over
go.
again. So
Maybe he does.
maybe, and then mute it. That's totally fine. I've got captions for a reason. That's the only way we get through it. We can laugh about it or we can cry about it.
Mm.
My strategy for the voice is just pump it through a
So
mic,
just do that with
do a
this,
bunch of audio mixing, and make sure to add some bass.
please.
And
Yeah.
all day, every day, yeah, just talking to a voice box all the time. And but so what I love, Bri, about this whole conversation, and why I even wanted to have it is the fact that more people do need to hear the fact that you can just do things. And if you're stuck at that point where you have done things, you last 3 weeks and then you give up, it's very little. That is a skill issue, not a character flaw. That is a skill issue, not some personality trait that you're struggling with. It's not an identity that you need to keep wrestling with. It's, hey, you just haven't developed the tactics that gets you past that 3-week mark. You and I have spent more time building community circles, self-encouragement, meditation, mindfulness, journaling practices that gets us through the 3-week mark. That gets us through the today I don't want to run, and I actually just celebrated putting my running shoes on. And that was it. And I told myself that was enough. If I could just put my freaking shoes
maybe the
on
yardstick
today,
is too far. Maybe
that is a
maybe
win.
you've set a goal that's like too big right now, and maybe you need to shrink that goal, and that's okay. But it's just, yes, like, what are you moving in the direction of? Another thing I would say is just like, why are you doing this? And I think that having a strong why is really important too. Like, I'm doing this because it brings me a lot of joy, not I'm doing this because I think that this is what I should be doing. I think that also can really motivate you to continue on. Is like, I'm doing this because it makes me really happy. Like, I'm posting on LinkedIn and like posting this funny stuff that I think is funny because like it makes me really happy and it makes me want to show up on this platform. Versus like, oh, I'm posting these like infographics and trying to sound smart because I feel like this is what's going to get me respected by more people. I'm like, I don't really care right now if people respect me or not. I don't really care. Like, I'm just doing things because they make me happy, and I know that again, that'll like help me find my people. So that is much more motivating for me than anything else.
The thing that I've noticed is that the people who just seem to be able to show up and do things know exactly what the thing you just said was. I know what brings me joy. And if I can just increase the percentage amount of time I'm spending doing those things, I know I'm going to show up and it is going to pay off at some point. And there's a future version of me celebrating me for that right now. The other side, though, that people don't talk about is usually when they decide to commit to a half marathon, it's because of an I'm not good enough story, because I'm punishing myself for years of bad behavior and not taking care of my health. And so, of course, you didn't make it past 3 weeks because your goals and your why was of fear, anxiety, worry, overwhelm. And over time, your nervous system, your adrenals, your thyroid's going to be like, I can't keep processing all of that cortisol. And so it's going to shut down. So, yeah, no kidding. You only lasted 3 weeks because you kept cracking the cane over your back.
Exactly. And it has, again, it's just, it's like the intent behind it and operating from a place of abundance. And like, I'm doing this because this is going to fuel me. This is, you know, going to be so good for my health. Like, this is going to be so good for my mental health. Like, I run not because I'm like trying to lose weight or trying to like I want the medal, but like I run because I'm like, this is actually so good for my mental health. Like, it's one of the things that actually calms down my brain. It's one of the only times that I'm not scrolling on my phone. It's one of the only times that I can just like focus on like nature and just a goal. And like, I think that's why I've been able to continue doing it, is because like I'm doing it for just the love of the experience and not because I hate my body or because I'm trying to prove something to somebody else.
That will always carry us through. And that is a thing that I want to continue celebrating with you. And for the audience, they can keep celebrating all of that.
Follow me on LinkedIn. I spark joy.
On LinkedIn.
I'm not going to throw AI slop garbage at you. everything that I create is from a place of love and care and wanting to just like make people laugh. Yeah, maybe,
And
but
maybe every now and then
I
tell
don't
us we
want
look
to feed
pretty
your
instead
ego
of
too
talking about our
much.
voice. Maybe. Just throw it out there.
Mm.
No, my wife says the same thing. So you're on that team. I get it. Bree, thank you so much for this conversation. Really looking forward to
Celebrate
continue to
you too, my
celebrate
friend. Thanks
you.
for having
And
me.
to the audience, appreciate you for joining.